Major funding for NJTV News is provided in part by the members of the New Jersey Education Association, making public schools great for every child, and PSE&G. We make things work for communities.
Tonight on NJTV News, a new approach.
New Jersey's Population Health Summit puts the spotlight on the opioid epidemic.
Elections have consequences.
Tallying the primary votes, what's at stake? We have the races to watch. Also, what's driving the state's population shifts away from suburbs and back toward urban centers? And the tale of the 52-year-old man in the sea in a homemade boat. Those stories and more next on NJTV News.
Live from the Agnes Varus NJTV studio at 2 Gateway Center in Newark, this is NJTV News with Mary Alice Williams.
Hello, thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Alice Williams.
And I'm Michael Hill.
New Jersey's primary election day is underway with registered Democrats and Republicans voting in key races. We'll have full coverage of congressional races throughout the evening, online and on air. But first, an issue that crosses party lines. Despite efforts to curb the opioid epidemic, state data shows overdose deaths in New Jersey are on pace to break records. Now, the State Department of Health is enlisting medical, behavioral, and legal experts to tackle the crisis together. Brianna Vannozzi reports.
Despite all the extra resources in the state, the number of drug-related overdose deaths is continuing to climb. More than 2,200 lives were claimed in 2016. That's the most recent year for which data is available. Today's Population Health Summit convened to focus on best practices and approaches to the public health crisis.
It's all about how do we allocate resources, economic disparity. Middle class has had frozen wages since the recession, despite full employment. So the diseases of despair, depression, drug abuse, alcoholism, all of those diseases are changing the very epidemiology of the country, meaning my children are going to have a shorter lifespan, potentially, than my baby boomer wife and me.
Panelists and state officials presented models and evidence-based research, ideas and roadmaps for ways to crack down on the problem. Addressing economic disparity and the need for an integrated care approach was the connecting thread throughout the day.
A big focus of the department is going to create a single license for primary care, addiction treatment, and mental health care, all to be provided under the same roof. The fact of the matter is, the Venn diagrams, the number of folks who have all three of those conditions are growing. And so to better meet their needs, we have to create a healthcare system that matches those needs.
In fact, 60 to 70% of those suffering with addiction have co-occurring medical issues, and health experts say the system needs a total overhaul to address it.
We have a mental health system that's integrated in the community and an addiction system that's integrated in the community, but they really don't speak to each other enough. There's not enough co-occurring programs that deal with the co-occurring issue between people with addiction and mental health.
We have to have much greater access to mental health services, make that a core part of primary care, but the only way we're going to make that work is by changing how we're paid. Here's the answer to the riddle. If we get paid to improve outcome, rather than just getting paid for every test and every procedure, then we'll have mental health experts in our practice helping us with addiction, with depression, with all the diseases of despair.
So experts recommend changing regulatory systems, providing economic incentives, looking at bundled payments, fee for performance, and moving from a volume to value-based system in treating mental health and substance use disorder.
The second thing that needs to happen is that the reimbursement structure, particularly with Medicaid, has to recognize that care has changed, that we look at the whole person now, and we have a whole team of people providing care, and slicing it up into little fees per procedure just doesn't work. It doesn't reflect the work that's being done, and it doesn't encourage high-quality care.
The driving point throughout the day is nothing new. The state needs to put less emphasis on short-term fixes and look to long-term prevention. In Bridgewater, Brianna Vannozzi, NJTV News.
No criminal charges for the officers in that violent Wildwood Beach arrest. That's the word from the Cape May County prosecutor as Wildwood police conduct an internal investigation. Video showed one officer punching the Philadelphia woman in the head, another trying to handcuff her on the beach or restrain her. She was accused of underage drinking. Police say those same videos showed the woman assaulted the officers first. Her lawyer says police overreacted.
A federal judge has blocked New Jersey's attempt to unilaterally withdraw from a mob watchdog agency. The Bi-State Waterfront Commission was formed in the face of mob corruption so notorious on the docks it was immortalized in the movie classic On the Waterfront. In January, after outgoing Governor Christie signed legislation to leave the commission took New Jersey to court. Now, U.S. District Judge Susan Wigginton's issued an opinion stating the Waterfront Commission of New York Harbor would suffer irreparable harm unless Governor Murphy's enjoined from implementing the bill, citing sworn statements by the commission's executive director that organized crime still very much continues to exist on the waterfront. The state attorney general's office says it's reviewing its legal options.
How will they make up for the loss of money? Here with our business reporter is Rhonda Schaffler. Rhonda, a question in much need of an answer for some of those school districts tonight.
That's right, Michael. While State House disputes continue over the prospects of new taxes, one tax bill is advancing in the legislature. The Senate Budget and Appropriations Committee okayed legislation to create a 1% payroll tax for Jersey City businesses. Money collected from that tax would provide funds for Jersey City School District, which is expected to lose millions in state aid over the next 5 years. A spokesman for Senate President Steve Sweeney's office says the payroll tax is expected to bring in more than $70 million annually. Right now, the only other city permitted to levy a payroll tax is Newark. The New Jersey Business and Industry Association is critical of the bill, saying the tax proposal would place an additional burden on businesses. The bill heads next to the full Senate. One of the state's biggest health systems is getting bigger. Virtua Health has signed a definitive agreement to acquire Lourdes Health System, which has several hospitals and facilities in South Jersey. The financial terms of that deal were not disclosed. Virtua signed a letter of intent to buy Lourdes earlier this year, shortly after Cooper University Healthcare dropped its plans to buy Lourdes assets, a move that resulted in lawsuits. As going out of business sales continue at Toys R Us and Babies R Us stores, there's also a liquidation sale at the bankrupt company's headquarters in Wayne. The company is selling office equipment, a pool table, and several large toys. On its Facebook page, Toys R Us says everything must go, even Jeffrey. Toys R Us employees, meantime, are continuing their protest this week over the fact the company has decided not to pay its workers severance as it shuts down stores and prepares for layoffs. You've heard those warnings before about Social Security eventually running out of money. Today, new numbers about that are discouraging. This year, for the first time in 36 years, the cost of the Social Security program will exceed its income, meaning the program must dip into a reserve fund to cover benefits. According to the annual report by the trustees of Social Security and Medicare, reserves will be depleted entirely in 16 years, and Social Security will no longer be able to give recipients their full benefits. It would have to pay out partial benefits. Even worse, the trustees say Medicare's hospital insurance fund will be depleted in 8 years. That's faster than previous forecasts. On Wall Street today, stocks closed mixed. The Dow fell 13 points. And those are our top business stories.
Support for the Business Report is provided by Atlantic City Electric, an Exelon company, connecting communities and powering southern New Jersey.
The 2018 New Jersey primary is underway. Polls are open until 8 o'clock tonight. Registered Democrats and Republicans and independents willing to declare a party affiliation at the polls are choosing their party nominees for congressional races that could sway the balance of power between Republicans and Democrats in Washington. To help us walk through who some of them are and what's at stake, we're joined by Republican strategist Dale Florio, Democratic strategist Chris Donnelly, and Fairleigh Dickinson University political science professor Dan Cassino. Thanks for being here, gentlemen.
First question, Dale, let me ask you this. Which of these races are you watching, and tell me why?
Well, I'm looking at the Menendez race for the U.S. Senate because we're looking to see what the enthusiasm level might be for the incumbent, Bob Menendez. I think that's critical.
All right, Chris, how about you?
I think Democrats are looking at all the races in which there are current incumbent Republicans or retiring Republican congressmen because, as you mentioned, we have a chance to take back the House in November and every seat could possibly be up for grabs.
What have you gentlemen been hearing about voter turnout, and what could that telegraph for people's enthusiasm in November in terms of voting?
Well, last time Bob Menendez was up for election, the primary in 2012, there were 235,000 votes cast on the Democratic side, about 170,000 on the Republican side. We're going to expect that number to go up pretty dramatically this year, mostly driven by these competitive House races in New Jersey's 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 11th congressional districts.
And when you start talking about party support in a state like this at this particular time, what has driven some of the parties to support the candidates they have chosen to support? Let me start with you.
We're actually seeing a lot of division within parties. In some districts, I'm thinking especially of New Jersey's 5th congressional district, Republicans might be blowing a chance to pick up a seat by nominating someone they can't win in November. We're seeing a similar dynamic happen in New Jersey's 11th congressional district, where you've got a very conservative Republican against a moderate. And the difference between the primary electorate and the general electorate is going to be a huge problem for Republicans in some of these districts going forward.
Chris, same question for you.
Well, I think on the Democratic side, there's a lot of excitement because in all the districts that you look at where there's potential to take back a Republican seat, you have extremely qualified Democratic candidates. And so I think regardless of what the outcome in those districts are tonight, what's going to emerge is a slate of incredibly qualified, viable candidates who have a chance to win back any and all of those seats.
Dale, yes.
Yeah, and they're going to need qualified candidates because the incumbents that the Republicans have in those districts are very strong. I mean, they've been there for a long time. They're not, you know, I know the Democrats are hoping that there's a anti-Trump wave this year, but you have candidates and incumbents there who have disagreed with the president when they felt they needed to disagree. So it's not what the Democrats think it's going to be.
Have the candidates who are primarying sitting representatives, and even those in, for instance, the 11th, which is an open seat, are you seeing them pushing candidates more toward the center or more toward the progressive or conservative wings of their parties?
Well, I mean, in the 11th district, where there's a Republican primary to replace Rodney Frelinghuysen, there's the spectrum of candidates. We have some what I would call moderates and more conservative candidates. So we'll see what happens. See what happens tonight. But that district is a Republican district. They're likely to nominate a very capable Democrat, but it is a Republican district.
You mentioned you want someone else to answer. Dan, you want Dan to try that? Yes, Dan.
There's also the issue of this enthusiasm biting back against Democrats a little bit. If we go over New Jersey's 2nd district down South Jersey, there's a very conservative Democrat. I think he's got 100% rating from the NRA. He's not what a lot of people would call a strong Democrat, except he's got 3 liberals running against him. They're going to split the vote, and he's going to walk into the nomination tonight.
Let me ask you this. You mentioned, Dale, you mentioned Trump. Well, what impact will Trump have on these races, do you think?
Well, we have to see when we get into October, right? I mean, there was a lot of anti-Trump sentiment. I think we sense that that's evening out a little bit around the country. And you really can't tell. Much like a governor. Governor Murphy will be, very much in focus for Republicans next year during the midterm elections. So you really have to see when we get September and October to see what impact it truly will have.
Chris, are you seeing? Yes, I'm sorry, Chris. Are you seeing any impact? As this is a motivation for people to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's undeniable. History shows that the midterm election for a president's first term, regardless of party, is always a sort of a referendum on the president themselves. And clearly, President Trump is not a popular person in the state of New Jersey. He lost here by a large margin. He's been around 30% approval rating. I don't see how he is not a factor moving forward, especially given what we have seen from the administration over the last year and a half and how badly New Jersey has fared under this administration and this Congress.
Have you seen the major parties focusing, as they have in California, on New Jersey this year by putting money behind candidates?
Well, without a doubt. We'll see more of it come the fall, right? I mean, really the preferred candidates by both the Republicans and the Democrats are not really being challenged to a large degree in their primaries. So people are withholding funds. The only person who's really spent any kind of money, it's Bob Hugin, because he's already put $20 million of his own money into the race.
Dan, quickly, please.
The other issue is, if I'm the Democratic Party or the Republican Party, I'm not sure I want to spend a lot of money in New Jersey, because for cost of one congressional seat in New Jersey, I could get 5 congressional seats in Oklahoma. It's just a really expensive race to run. There's been a lot of money coming in, but it's not been the national party money.
Dan, Chris, and Dale, thank you for being here. They're going to be with us all through the night, so stay with us for our coverage. Tonight, we will be telling all the votes total online and on the air, and we'll be live on Facebook reporting from campaign headquarters, and we'll wrap up today's primary election right here at 11 o'clock tonight.
It's a fascinating look at New Jersey's shifting population. NJ Spotlight's Colleen O'Day did the census analysis. She spoke to senior correspondent David Cruz about it.
So this new census data is out. You guys did a deep dive. What pops out at you here?
There is a trend in New Jersey of folks moving out of the suburbs and back into the cities, which is, of course, a reversal of what had happened for, about 4 decades. I looked at some of the old data from the 1970 census, for instance, because that's when a lot of the suburbanization really started happening. Newark's population then was more than 380,000.
Wow.
Today, it is about 280,000. So what happened during that time period is that population went down. In Jersey City as well, Jersey City was about 260. Now, they're up to 264 because they kind of came back sooner, right? That development of the whole Gold Coast happened a lot sooner, and downtown Jersey City has been booming. But what happened in not just those cities, but all over in the cities, was population just decreased dramatically from kind of the 70s on. And it's just in the last decade that things have started to come back up. The millennials are really largely responsible for that.
For this move from the suburban to the urban.
Right. So these are folks who took time to get their driver's licenses. They didn't necessarily get it right away like I did when I was growing up.
Right.
You wanted to get that license right on your birthday. These are guys who are not necessarily driving. They don't necessarily like to drive. They like to take transit, and they like to walk places. So they like to live in a place like a Jersey City, a Newark, and some of the smaller cities. Harrison is just exploding.
Well, that's the thing that jumped out at me. First, that 100,000 population drop from Newark is stunning to me. But the fact that Harrison now is the fastest growing city in the state, not just in Hudson County.
That's right.
We should say that Harrison is a small town, but they've seen a significant increase. What's that all about?
That's right. So they kind of have it all. I mean, they are a small city, but they have a lot of land that can be redeveloped because they had some factories that went out. They've got a PATH station, and that's perfect because it's about a 20-minute ride on the subway into New York City if you want to go there. And they've done that whole transit-oriented development where you are building not terribly high rises, but multi-story buildings with units for many families right near the train stations. They also have shops and restaurants, so they kind of have it all. And this is what millennials are looking for.
Yeah, and coincidentally, the PATH station there is getting like a $200 million makeover, so that works well for them. We keep hearing that politicians saying that people are leaving the state, but the population numbers don't show that. Are people leaving the state? And if they are leaving the state, who's coming in to make those numbers balance?
So people are leaving the state. In most counties, there was a net migration out of New Jersey to elsewhere around the United States. What's making up for that are births, which are outnumbering deaths, and immigration. We're still a very popular and welcoming place for immigrants to come in. So that's really what's fueling the change.
And when we talk about immigrant migration in to the state, are they mostly coming to urban areas in search of mass transit and more affordable housing?
Exactly. That's exactly right. Because they're also looking for often communities that already exist. So, you know, if you're coming from a place like Columbia and you've heard that there's a big Colombian population in Morristown, for example, you might want to go there because an uncle told you about it, or somebody else in your city there told you about it. So they're looking for neighborhoods that already exist, and they're largely in our cities and our, you know, other urban areas. And they are looking for mass transit because often when they come, they can't afford the car right away. You know, they don't have necessarily that high-paying job to start off with.
And so these numbers suggest also that if Jersey City continues on its present population trajectory, very soon they may become the largest city in the state for the first time since way back when we were kids.
Yes, yes.
1700s.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but don't count Newark out because Mayor Baraka is vowed he's not letting that happen. So, and you know, Newark is competing now. They've got a lot of building going on, a lot of residential construction.
Yeah,
so
and
it's interesting.
It is a large city in terms of, you know, square mileage. So there's a lot more capacity built into Newark right now.
Sure, sure. Oh, yeah, you've got a ton of, and there's a lot of areas for redevelopment. There's a lot of opportunities here. So, and Newark is a little bit cheaper than Jersey City. So it's got a lot going for it.
So would you say that these figures suggest robust growth for the state? Does it paint a positive picture of how things are going in the state?
It's a positive picture. It's not robust because there are many states that are growing faster, but there are some places that are not growing across the country. Right. Unfortunately for us, when we get to talking about politics, if our population is not growing as fast as a place like a Texas or you know, some of the other places in the South, right, could we wind up losing another seat as we have done? What, we've lost 3 seats in the last 4 decades, I think, right? We were at 15 House members at one point. We're down to 12 now. So it's good that we're growing, but we aren't growing as fast as some other places.
I love how numbers can really tell a story about a state. Colleen O'Day, thanks for coming in.
Thank you, David.
Good to see you.
Same here.
Sweeping changes for Miss America. That tops tonight's Garden State Express. Our first stop, Atlantic City, where the pageant swimsuit and evening gown competitions are out now that former Miss Americas are in and running the show. Miss America Board of Directors Chair Gretchen Carlson says starting in September, the organization will no longer judge contestants on their outward physical appearances and instead will focus on their goals and achievements. The rebranding puts the talent and scholarship aspects of the pageant out ahead of the beauty pageant part. Next to Jersey City, mourning the sudden death of decorated police K-9 Astro. During his career, the Jersey City Police Department awarded the Explosives and Patrol Dog a commendation and a Police Service Award for excellence. He was also cited by the Union City Police Department for recovery of a gun and the arrest of 2 carjacking suspects. Astro's partner, Officer George Crispina, said his K-9 lost consciousness at work Sunday and was rushed to an animal hospital where an untreatable tumor was discovered. Astro would have been 10 years old in July. Finally, Barnegat Light, where a voyage across the Atlantic has ended prematurely offshore. 52-year-old Scotsman Duncan Hutchison set out from Manhattan Yacht Club in Jersey City on a 3,500-mile trip to Scotland's Lochinvar Harbor in a rowboat he built himself. But the trip, the longtime volunteer crew member for the Royal National Lifeboat Institution expected to take some 100 days, ended in just 4, amid 8.5-foot seas and high winds 20 miles out. The U.S. Coast Guard rescued him, but left behind his laptop, phone, and passport, along with his self-built clinker-style skiff. And that's the Garden State Express for Tuesday, June 5th. Something up in your neighborhood? Tip us off.
And now some noteworthy facts that help you know Jersey. On average, New Jersey's population grew by less than 1% between 2014 and 2017. The Bi-State Waterfront Commission of New York Harbor was formed in 1953 to fight mob influence in the ports. Jersey City would need some 15,000 more residents to surpass Newark as New Jersey's largest city. And the first Miss America pageant was held in Atlantic City way back in 1921. If there's someone who you'd like to get to know Jersey, use hashtag #KnowJersey.
Tonight, we'll be telling vote totals online and on air. We'll be live on Facebook, reporting from campaign headquarters, and we'll wrap up today's primary election right here at 11 o'clock. To share any story you've seen tonight, go to njtvnews.org. I'm Mary Alice Williams.
And I'm Michael Hill.
For all the men and women of NJTV News, thanks for being here. See you at 11.
RWJ Barnabas Health. Let's be healthy together. NJN Insurance Group, serving the insurance needs of New Jersey residents and businesses for more than 100 years. And Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Have some water.
Look at these kids.
How are you?
What do you see? I see myself. I became an ESL teacher to give my students what I wanted when I came to this country. The opportunity to learn, to dream, to achieve, a chance to belong and to be an American. My name is Julia Toriani Crompton, and I'm proud to be an NJEA member.